Can I tell you a story, Rick? It's about a girl who had just come to Paris from her home in Oslo. She met a man about whom she had heard her whole life, a very great and courageous man. He opened up for her a whole beautiful world full of knowledge and thoughts and ideals. Everything she knew or ever became was because of him. And she looked up to him and worshipped him with a feeling she supposed was love.
Has it got a wow finish?
I don't know the finish yet.
Maybe one will come to you as you go along.
They got lost in each other, and it was the kind of loss that's exactly like being found.
Yes, it's very pretty. I heard a story once. As a matter of fact, I've heard a lot of stories in my time. They went along with the sound of a tinny piano playing in the parlor downstairs.
Someone told her once that love is a striking example of how little reality means to us. They said, "The heart does not love, it is the mind that loves. And science locates the mind in the brain, though I'm not too sure about it." "Why is it, then, that love clenches not the brain, but the heart?" she asked. Quite collected at cocktail parties, meanwhile, in her head she's undergoing open-heart surgery. The heart, poor fellow, pounding on his little tin drum.
I'll meet you at the station.
All right, at 4:45. Say, why don't we get married, Marseille?
That's too far ahead to plan.
They asked her so many questions and told her so many things. True love, is it normal? Is it serious? Is it practical? What does the world get from two people who exist in a world of their own? Placed on the same pedestal for no good reason, drawn randomly from millions, but convinced it had to happen this way, in reward for what? For nothing. The light descends from nowhere. Why on these two and not on others? Doesn't this outrage justice? Yes, it does. Doesn't it disrupt our painstakingly erected principles and cast the moral from the peak? Yes, on both accounts. True love, is it really necessary? Tact and common sense tell us to pass over it in silence, like a scandal in life's highest circles. Perfectly good children are born without its help. It couldn't populate the planet in a million years. It comes along so rarely. Let the people who never find true love keep saying that there's no such thing. Their faith will make it easier for them to live and die.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris.
In reality, what is the duration of the supreme moment of love? It is nothing, an instant, a second perhaps. A second of ecstasy, and after that, dust, ashes, nothingness.
Someday you'll understand that.
One woman has hurt you and you take your revenge on the rest of the world. You're a coward and weakling.
Cupid, or Eros, is the god of love and desire. Eros is often contrasted with Logos, seemingly in opposition to reason and order. When Eros met Logos, Cupid cowered. People put him in a corner, and he lost his luster, becoming childlike in nature. Soon, though, he became angry. People rejected him completely, deflecting his arrows with their reason. One day, he decided to retaliate, to make the people love again.
No more strife. I'm gonna make you man in life.
He said to her, "Words burst in your essence, and you carry their dust in the pores of your ethereal individuality. In a way, you are poetry material. You are full of cloudy subtleties I am willing to spend my whole life figuring out.
Is that cannon fire? Or is it my heart pounding?
How could she not cry out when he pressed her to his flesh? How could she not hear the sorrow that sings at the core of every man's heart? Already she must have fallen. Already she must have sensed the heat coursing beneath his skin, wishing to be burned. With the American Civil War as an expansive backdrop and enough famous set pieces to win 8 Oscars, this epic is still a simple love story at heart, though arguably it is more about the power of sex than the mysteries of love. Vivien Leigh's petulant Scarlett O'Hara is a terrible pain, but Clark Gable's Rhett Butler is besotted, witty, and wise enough to make his kicking down of the bedroom door an act of passion rather than brutality.
A kiss is just a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh.
Rhett says to Scarlett, as they kiss and she melts, "I want you to faint. This is what you were meant for."
And when two lovers woo, they still say I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by.
Sam, I thought I told you never to play.
They say a love like that is a serious illness, an illness from which you never fully recover. She cried, "What do I know of bone-deep lonely?" I did not record his voice. Mute, I let him simmer, speechless in my memory, while I tried to gain the faith to think. I held his fist against my lips. I closed my teeth around the juncture of his throat and chest. I said, "You will be the fire of the sun, and I will circle you until you draw me close, until our nearness breaks me into pieces and you burn me whole." I would have ripped his heart out and consumed it if I thought that it would choke me. I would have been the eternal mouth. Say I'm young. Who taught you to write in blood on my back? Who taught you to use your hands as branding irons? You have scored your name into my shoulders and referenced me with your mark. The pads of your fingers have become printing blocks. You tap a message onto my skin, tap meaning into my body. Your Morse code interferes with my heartbeat. I had a steady heart before I met you, and I relied upon it. It had seen active service and grown strong. Now you alter its pace with your own rhythm.
All right. I tried to reason with you. I tried everything. Now I want those letters.
No. All right, I'll make it easier for you. Go ahead and shoot. You'll be doing me a favor.
Maybe the French have it right after all. How many stolen glances steal hearts? But wait, is setting something out to be stolen not the same as giving? Quick to locate the source of the pain, she points fingers at the would-be robber thieves. "You stole my heart," she yells, even though it was she who opened herself up to love.
Russian roulette.
Now, even she knows the risks. How moments can be reduced to memory in a flash. How love turns to dust that rises like 1,000 tiny planets into the glittering air. She said, "If love had a color, I'd say it was blue. The blue of longing. Desire is full of endless distances. The color of an emotion. The color of solitude and of desire. The color of there seen from here. The color of where you are not and where you can never go." How do you know when you say blue that you are talking about the same blue as anyone else? One cannot get a grip on blue. Blue is sly, it slides into the room sideways. This is a story about the color blue, and like blue there's nothing true about it. Blue is beauty, not truth. True blue is a ruse, a rhyme. It's there and then it's not. Blue is a deeply sneaky color. Somewhere in this is the mystery of why tragedies are more beautiful than comedies, and why we take pleasure in the sadness of certain songs and stories. Something is always far away.
I can understand how you feel.
You understand how I feel. How long was it we had, honey?
I didn't count the days.
Well, I did. Every one of them.
"I love you," he said. She stared. "I love you," he repeated, with more vigor. She cocked her head to the side like a puppy. "I love you," he shouted. "Do you understand me?" "I think so," she whispered, as he stared wildly back. "I love you," he cried. But there are certain meanings that are lost forever the moment they are explained in words. She told him, "I can't describe exactly how I feel, but it's not quite right, and it leaves me cold. Why is it that the most unoriginal thing we can say to one another is still that which we long to hear? You did not say it first, and neither did I. Yet when you say it, and when I say it, we speak like savages who have found 3 words and worship them."
I love you so much. And I hate this war so much.
She wrote, "It's true what they say. We are encased and cannot stray from the house of our bodies. I could say that we are released in our private night when our souls explode into a billion fragments, then calmly regather in a black pool in the forest, far from the cage of flesh, the unremitting eye. But I don't know. You're so much like me. You're a little like me. You're nothing like me. When I step forward to embrace you, my arms are wrapped around mystery, around the unknowable. The far seeps into even the nearest. After all, we hardly know our own depths. We are sculptors, constantly carving out of others the image we long for, need, love, and desire, often against reality and always, in the end, a disappointment, because it cannot fit. To love is to create a map of the self on another. Long winding roads full of promise, the dead ends we turn from in the never-ending maze that always ends exactly where it started. The girl, standing alone at the entrance with a mirror and a compass arrow pointed at her heart. She said, "Love, the word, means nothing to me. Its weight means everything. Love, I'll strip it of its red color. Love, I'll mute the one damn misguiding, blood-sucking, Hollywood-loving, seductive syllable. Love, throw it up against the wall and disintegrate its 4 useless letters. Naked, raw, and ready to speak, I'll build, paint, create. This thing now has substance. Now, if the word love, the only thing on my mind, was erased, a blank mind would still exist, holding the meaning that the word missed." "I love you," he said. She heard him but did not reply. "I love you," he said louder. "Do you know that?" "I believe you," she said. "I love you!" There is always some madness in love. But there is also always some reason in madness.
Ricky, you're becoming quite human. I suppose we have to thank you for that, mademoiselle.
She told him. One day I will find the right words, and they will be simple. Love demands expression. It will not stay still, stay silent, be good, be modest, be seen and not heard. No, it will break out in tongues of praise, the high note that smashes the glass and spills the liquid. What matters is precisely this, the unspoken at the edge of the spoken, the space between the notes. Something changed the moment she decided she'd found a person she was ready to reveal her soul to. A profound, multidimensional clarity that resembled a piece of carefully gathered stardust. As if she was whispering, finally, her eyes filled with light and spontaneity. She did not care whether her heart would melt or crumble in the process, because her brief courage had undone the tremendous fear of disbelief. She lived for these moments of sweet surrender, moments of psychological reward smashing all the self-imposed discipline that was founded on terror. She said to him, "Everything I'd want from you is finally so little, because finally it's everything. Meaningless things, mundane, long hair and 2 lumps of sugar, the smell of your body and whatever you say about anything. May you love me with violent disregard for tomorrow. Let the cry of your coming explode in the boss's face in some office, and let the pleasure we invent together be one more sign of our freedom."
The day you left Paris, if you knew what I went through, if you knew how much I loved you, how much I still love you.